Welcome back to Gonzalez Rano Special Vehicles after episode 66. It was after destroyed seconds and space of time 2 times the 65, 66 already finished. So this is part 3. You'll see the stunt plane crash in the ocean and stunt plane crash in the airport. A stolen tank by the man is gonna be angrier, but he gives up and he dies. And the Hellstar crash, the blimp accident history, a race car clash in the racing climbing. Before I start the video, make sure to subscribe to Gonzalez Rano Special Vehicles. Go check episode 20, 28, 29, 60. All the destroying seconds and space and time that I already posted. So make sure watch this video that I already posted. Grab some water and stand up, keep moving, and enjoy the show. It's showtime.
So much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same. Ever. Our team has scoured the globe to bring you some of the most incredible video ever captured. A horrifying crash on a German speedway leaves a $200,000 sports car in shreds. In Canada, a truck driver's race to beat a train over a crossing ends in an explosive collision. Strap yourself in and take a deep breath. Things are about to get destroyed in seconds. September 2007. It's one of the worst crashes in the history of speed hill climbing. A multiple rollover that leaves a trail of wreckage down a winding mountain road. This is all that remains of the $222,000 sports car. Minutes earlier, 10-time champion Herbert Stanger is approaching the finish line at 150 miles per hour. Stanger's car slams into the embankment, barely missing 2 race marshals. Ricochets across the track, upside down. Snaps both roll bars and flies through an opening in the crash barrier. As Stanger rounds the corner, his rear spoiler breaks off. Without the spoiler generating downforce through the turn, Stanger loses traction and then complete control. With no roll bars to protect him when the car flips, Stanger's head is exposed to the asphalt. The 380 horsepower custom-built M3 completely disintegrates. Rescue personnel race to the scene. Stanger's daughter arrives on site, fearing the worst. But incredibly, Stanger is able to walk away from the crash with only a broken left toe and minor contusions. 29-year-old racer credits a head and neck support system known as the Hans restraint for saving his life. It's 12:30 a.m. in Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic. A station that sells propane gas catches fire and illuminates the night sky. Not visible on camera, a tanker truck parked at the station holds 13,000 gallons of highly flammable liquefied petroleum gas. The fire's heat causes a buildup of pressure inside the tanker and increases the threat of explosion. Hundreds of families flee the area as the fire continues to grow until the tanker truck explodes. The shockwave is felt more than 7 miles away. Dozens of firefighters battle the flames, and the army is called in to maintain order. By the time the fire is brought under control, $2 million worth of damage is inflicted on homes and buildings. Much of the neighborhood is left in ruin. In daylight, the damage is even clearer. What's left of the tanker leans against a storefront. Smoke can still be seen pouring from the truck's wheel. A leak in a gas hose is the suspected source of the initial fire, but the cause is never officially determined. 18 people suffer burns of varying degrees, but to the amazement of many, no one is killed in the inferno. July 26, 2009, Kennewick, Washington. 28-year-old hydroplane champion J. Michael Kelly races in the Lamb Weston Columbia Cup. His boat is powered by a salvaged Chinook helicopter engine that puts out roughly 2,600 horsepower. That's more than 3 times the horsepower of the fastest Lamborghini. In third place, Kelly takes the final lap at 190 miles per hour, unaware that a hidden danger lurks in the water. Kennewick, Washington, home of the Lamb Weston Columbia Cup race for unlimited hydroplanes, where boats move at NASCAR speeds on a 2.5-mile course. Competing in this race is 28-year-old J. Michael Kelly. In third place, Kelly enters the last lap at over 190 miles per hour. Then suddenly loses control. The wake from the boat in front of Kelly causes him to catch air. The wake's intense pressure pushes outward and forms small waves that dissipate over distance. Drivers can't always see them, but they're there, and riding over them at high speeds can be treacherous. In this case, slightly lifting the nose of Kelly's boat. Once airborne, nothing can stop the 7,000-pound vessel from flipping roughly 50 feet in the air. The powerful engine is silenced as Kelly's hydroplane crash lands upside down in the water. The broken wing floats nearby. Below the surface, Kelly has just moments to remove his harness, steering wheel, and his helmet's air supply in order to free himself. As a rescue boat approaches, Kelly escapes through the emergency hatch. Seconds later, the entire cockpit fills with water as Kelly boards the rescue boat to safety. It cost Kelly $120,000 to repair his boat, but he walks away unharmed and is back racing just a week later. Bullock County, Georgia. Officers are in high-speed pursuit of a stolen SUV with 3 suspects inside. Ignoring the heavy rain, the SUV races through an intersection, barely missing another car. Entering the town of Statesboro, the chase reaches speeds of 60 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. Then, just outside the city limits, just before the crash, the SUV is traveling over 80 miles per hour. As the stolen vehicle approaches a wide turn, it begins to hydroplane on the wet road. It slams against the shoulder and cartwheels several times. The female driver is thrown from a side window. Another suspect tries to escape through the rear window, but is stopped at gunpoint by officers. The SUV is totaled, but amazingly, the driver suffers only a broken collarbone. The 2 other occupants are treated for minor injuries. All 3 are charged with auto theft, attempting to elude police, and reckless driving. It's the annual Scalaria Air Challenge, where the world's premier acrobatic pilots take to the skies for charity. One of the stars of the show is Walter Mika and his vintage Pitts Special biplane. The 2-time national aerobatic champion performs for the crowd high above the 5-square-mile lake. He's a veteran aviator who's always pulled off these maneuvers without incident. But a critical misjudgment will bring his routine to a violent end. Vintage planes from around the world perform aerial acrobatics at the annual Scalaria Air Challenge. Many are here to see the 2-time national aerobatic champion, Walter Mika. Mika dazzles the crowd in his home-built biplane by performing several 360-degree loops. He follows up with a series of twisting barrel rolls, then dives toward the water. Just as Mika's plane completes the barrel rolls, his engine suddenly stalls. The plane plummets at 155 miles per hour toward the lake packed with boats filled with spectators. Mika tries to level out, but it's too late. The tumbling plane nearly crashes into boaters. Upon impact, Mika's biplane disintegrates around him. He spends 10 days in the hospital with a broken vertebrae, but he's able to continue his flying career. As for the crash, Mika blames himself for flying too low. If he had performed his stunts at a higher altitude, he would have had more time to attempt a pullout after his engine stalled. Motorcycle daredevil Seth Inslow has been in more crashes and suffered more broken bones than even he can remember. Today, Seth is in Brisbane, Australia to headline the Crusty Demons Tour, where he plans to jump 145 feet between two ramps. But before 13,000 spectators pack into the arena, Seth agrees to perform the stunt for the media. First, he makes a few jumps on his dirt bike to get a feel for the ramp and the distance he needs to clear. Once he feels comfortable, Seth switches his dirt bike for the custom Harley he'll use for the jump. Seth needs to hit the ramp between 35 and 40 miles per hour to safely land. But his approach is 5 miles an hour too fast. Seth and his 500-pound motorcycle overshoot the ramp. Seth bangs his head on his gas tank, slams to the floor, and careens into the barrier. The tour crew rushes in. Within minutes, emergency personnel are on scene.
Don't get up, Seth. Don't get up, buddy. Please.
Seth is seriously hurt. He's rushed to the hospital with cuts to his nose, severe bruising to his ribs, spleen, shoulder, and a concussion. As a result of his injuries, Seth says he's hanging up his helmet and decides that this jump is the last of his 14-year jumping career. Despite signs, signals, and gates, it happens on average at least once a day in the United States. A train and a truck collide at a railroad crossing. And when it comes to a tractor-trailer versus a 6,000-ton freight train, there's little doubt who will win. Canada is no stranger to truck-train collisions either. In British Columbia, a truck driver pulls up to the tracks even though the warning gate is coming down. When the second gate lowers behind him, the driver is suddenly trapped and must make a quick decision. Back up or try and beat the train. For the third time in 2 years, a tractor-trailer and a train have an unfortunate meeting on this North Carolina railroad crossing. 7 months later, at the same crossing, another collision. According to the U.S. government, a train and truck collide an average of 9 times a week, and the truck driver is usually at fault. In Canada, roughly 40 trucks a year are involved in train collisions. Here, a truck driver pulls up to a rail crossing even though the gates are lowering. The driver makes a decision to try and beat the fast-approaching train. The locomotive plows into the bed of the truck, causing the cab to break apart with the driver still inside. It's impossible for the engineer to avoid the crash, since a train traveling at 60 miles an hour takes about a mile to stop. In all 3 crashes, warning devices were working properly. In fact, that's the situation in nearly half of all collisions at railroad crossings. Fortunately, the crashes have something else in common. Despite operator error, all 3 drivers suffer only minor injuries. Salt Lake City, Utah. A $1 billion project is underway to revitalize the downtown area. But first, demolition. For months, bulldozers and track hoes work overtime to make room for nearly 20 acres of new stores, condos, and office buildings. A structure under demolition is a literal house of cards, where the smallest misstep can unleash massive destruction, if not injury, or even death. This track hoe tackles what's left of a 9-story high wall.
Here we go.
Normally, a long-range excavator like this one would do this job because it puts the cab at a safe distance from the structure being demolished.
Down it goes.
Unfortunately, the hydraulics are malfunctioning on the only available long-range excavator. The operator of this short-range track hoe grabs hold of an I-beam and uses it as a tool to knock the building over to the left side. But the unstable structure ends up falling directly onto the track hoe. The driver attempts to back out, but the collapse happens too fast. Tons of concrete and steel bury the track hoe and crush the canopy that protects the operator. Fortunately, the track hoe's boom arm and the I-beam combine to shield the worker from the falling debris. The operator suffers a cut to his head, requiring 20 stitches and several bruised ribs. Despite the severity of the collapse, state compliance officers determined that no demolition site safety rules were violated. Destruction never takes a holiday, and neither do we. I'm Ron Pitts. See you next time on Destroyed in Seconds. Without so much as a warning, life hangs in the balance. Human endeavor turns to chaos. And within seconds, nothing will ever be the same.
Everybody go back.
Coming up, you are about to see some of the most mind-blowing video clips in the world. Experience the destructive force of an earthquake from ground zero in Taipei, Taiwan. And fly with police in a helicopter as they chase a madman in a tank bent on destruction. This is your warning. This is not a test. This is Destroyed in Seconds. May 17th, 1995. A San Diego police helicopter is on a frantic search for a stolen vehicle.
Be careful, he is coming northbound. He is coming northbound.
The vehicle in question, a 57-ton M60 Patton tank.
At Able, we're over the head of it. We got a rolling video.
videotape.
The tank is fully equipped with a machine gun and a 105mm cannon, and it appears to be bent on destruction.
He's doing these cars on purpose. He's running over fire hydrants. You got hydrants that are blowing water in the air now.
At this point, police have no idea if the tank is armed.
Have somebody get a hold of the armory and find out if this thing is loaded, if he can actually do any damage with it other than killing people by running them over.
The suspect is a military veteran who has stolen the tank from a local armory.
Yeah, he's rolling over just about anything he wants to.
Police desperately tried to figure out a way to stop it.
Well, no, I don't, to be honest with you. This is the San Diego Police Department. You're in danger. Everybody go back in the house, get out of the street.
Not only is he going after parked cars, he's going after oncoming cars as well. After terrorizing the neighborhood, he heads for the main street and shows little regard for the traffic signal.
This is the San Diego Police Department. Get out of the way, get out of the street, you're in danger. This is the San Diego Police Department. Stay out of the street, you're in danger.
Almost 15 minutes into the rampage, he makes his way to the freeway.
This is bad. Oh my God. He's gonna try and take a bridge out. Well, it's a pedestrian bridge south of Balboa. There's nobody on it right now.
Unable to bring down the bridge, he gives up and moves on. Then, a half-mile later, the suspect tries to jump the freeway divider and head into oncoming traffic.
Oh my God. Abel?
But the potentially deadly act turns out to be the break police have been waiting for.
Abel, he's just high-centered it on the center divide. He's stuck. There's no way he's getting off that. Be careful if he gets loose there.
Several officers rush the tank. As they try to open the hatch, the driver makes one last effort to get the tank free.
Abel, they're trying to get the hatch open right now. The guy's still inside and he's not out. They can't get the hatch open. So he is stopped, though? Well, he can't move, but he's trying to real hard.
Moments later, the police get the hatch open, and the driver is killed. In the end, over 40 cars are demolished. Dozens of hydrants are turned into geysers, and several streetlights are toppled. When you consider the size and power of the tank and the extent of the damage that it created, it's remarkable that no innocent bystanders were hurt. Here in the village of Gradec, Albania, U.S. and Albanian munitions experts are preparing to destroy stockpiles of obsolete ammunition. The methodical destruction of the old ammo is supposed to occur with a series of small, controlled explosions. But something goes wrong. The blast ignites the remaining stockpile of ordnance. The most powerful explosion is audible up to 120 miles away. Glass and shrapnel rain down upon Gradec and neighboring towns. Windows are blown out more than a mile away. The blasts continue for hours. Over 4,000 people are evacuated from neighboring villages. 400 homes and businesses are destroyed, and another 2,000 are damaged. All told, 16 people are killed, and 243 more are injured. As the explosions subside, the threat continues. The town is now littered with hundreds of unexploded shells. According to the government, the disaster was simply an accident. But the ammunition's deteriorating condition, combined with human error, may have been a contributing factor. 3,000 tons of ammunition are destroyed in this disaster. And there are still 90,000 tons of obsolete munitions that remain stockpiled in Albania. night in Melbourne, Australia, and drag racers from all over come to compete in the nitro-fueled Drag Racing Nationals. In this funny car semi-final heat, veteran drag racer Keith Aegis gets ready to square off against fellow racer Darren Carter. As the starting light turns green, both cars rocket down the drag strip. But halfway down the track, Keith's 5,000 horsepower funny car blows up. And things go from bad to worse. Racer Keith Aegis and Darren Carter get set to compete in the semi-final heat at Calder Raceway in Melbourne, Australia. As the starting light flashes, both dragsters accelerate to over 300 miles per hour. Just seconds into the race, Keith's funny car explodes into a ball of flames, and he loses control. Frantically tries to release himself from the burning wreckage. Then, just as he gets his restraints off, help arrives. As the flames engulf the car, Keith is unable to see out of the windows, and his dragster drifts into the other lane. Darren Carter doesn't know what's about to hit him. Both carbon fiber bodies explode on impact, and Keith's car continues down the infield, leaving a trail of flames. Fireproof suit saves his life. An uninjured Keith makes his escape, but his smoldering boots tell us just how close he was to being terribly burnt. Later, it's determined that Keith's fuel tank, carrying 90 liters of nitromethane fuel, ruptured and led to the explosion. Thanks to stringent safety regulations, both drivers suffer only minor injuries. Lakehurst Naval Air Station is the site of not one, but two deadly blimp accidents. One of those disasters is virtually unknown and rarely seen. The other is perhaps the most dramatic air disaster in aviation history. In 1937, the German Luftschiff Zeppelin 129 Hindenburg airship glides over the Manhattan skyline as it makes its way to the Lakehurst Naval Air Station in New Jersey. As the Zeppelin gracefully moves into position over the airfield, hundreds of Navy personnel move into position to help tie down the craft.
It's practically standing still now. They've dropped ropes out of the nose of the ship, and has been taken a hold up down on the field by a number of men. The back motors of the ship are just holding it. It bursts into flames. Get it, Charlie, get it, Charlie. It's right, and it's crashing. It's crashing terrible. Oh, my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames, and it's falling on the mooring mast, and all the folks agree that this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's flames, 400 or 500 feet into the sky, and it's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the flames are just screaming
The
around.
world's most iconic aviation disaster ever caught on film leaves 36 people dead. Then, 50 years later, at the same Lakehurst Naval Air Station, a new experimental blimp is unveiled. The Piasecki PA-97 Helestat. The U.S. Forest Service claims it's able to carry 26 tons of timber out of remote logging areas. A feat that many believe will revolutionize the logging industry. The flying apparatus is made up of a helium-filled blimp mounted on an aluminum undercarriage. The entire craft is then powered by 4 decommissioned Sikorsky H-34J helicopters. Even as it's wheeled out to the tarmac, some folks are skeptical of the design.
Boy's got guts, I'll tell you that. Why is that? I'll be honest with you, it looks like a hell of a configuration, you know what I mean?
But in spite of the cynicism, the test flight of the $40 million airship continues. Slowly, it makes its way down the runway and begins to take to the air. Then, just moments into the flight, Almost immediately after liftoff, unanticipated vibrations rattled the frame. Seconds later, the right rear helicopter breaks off. One by one, the helicopters fall to the ground. The frame of the blimp buckles, and as the helium escapes, it too plummets to the airfield, killing one of the pilots. Rescuers race to the scene and begin to extinguish the flaming wreckage. It's a terrible twist of fate that the site of one of the most horrific aviation accidents in history is the location for another freak disaster. Hispanic soap opera star stands on the left skid of this helicopter, filming a rescue scene for his soap. According to the script, 3 of the soap's characters are stranded in a broken-down boat. The star is supposed to throw a line down to tow them in. Then, just when it looks like a successful rescue is underway, Hispanic soap star is shooting a scene in which he's supposed to tow his stranded co-stars to shore. He's thrown a tow line from his helicopter down to the boat, but what happens next was not in the script. Now, the actors in the boat have to rescue the star and the chopper pilot. The 2 men are trapped in the water underneath the sinking helicopter. Members of the film crew rush to assist in the rescue effort. The chopper pilot emerges from the water. Moments later, the soap star surfaces. They hang on to the skids of the helicopter as it takes on water. Soon they are safe on board one of the rescue boats. Both of them have escaped injury. Shooting this scene was supposed to be a fairly simple operation. The chopper's tow line is too short and too weak to pull the weight of the boat. The line snaps. The breakage causes a sudden change in balance for the helicopter. Flying at only 15 to 20 feet above the water, there's not enough room for the pilot to compensate for the sudden shift. The producers of the soap didn't know that the Bell 206 Ranger chopper is made for light observation and shouldn't be used for towing. This incident proves that sometimes the most dramatic moments on television can't be scripted. When construction is complete on the Taipei International Financial Center, it will be 101 stories, one of the tallest buildings in the world. But that's for another day. In March of 2002, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake rocks the capital city of Taiwan. The teeming metropolis is gripped by panic. The force of the quake is so great, it shakes loose 2 huge construction cranes. The cranes plummet 50 stories, ripping concrete, girders, and scaffolding down with it. Hundreds of tons of falling debris bombard the surrounding area. One crane crashes directly onto parked cars. The earthquake lasts a full minute and can be felt as far as 560 miles away. Hundreds of buildings are damaged. More than 200 people are injured. The falling cranes kill 4 people, including the crane operator and 2 construction workers. The force of the quake is equal to that of 8 atomic bombs. Fortunately, the epicenter was 27 miles out to sea, Had the quake been centered any closer, the damage would have been far more devastating. Imperial Sand Dunes, California. Hundreds of off-road enthusiasts are here to play in America's biggest sandbox. It's a wonderland for weekend warriors like Trevor Thomas, who's here to attempt the difficult double jump on his quad. To jump the double, riders launch off the first sand dune and land on the downhill slope of the next one. Come up short, they plow straight into the second dune. Quad riders rarely attempt the double. At 350 pounds, ATVs are roughly twice the weight of a motorcycle. Motorcycles have the clear advantage. Riders can correct their alignment while airborne. Trevor decides he's up to the challenge. Feeling confident after landing the double, he attempts another. Emboldened by 2 successful double jumps and a cheering crowd, Trevor aims for the launch of his third jump. Imperial Dunes, California. Trevor Thomas is attempting a double jump on his quad ATV. After completing 2 successful jumps, he gets ready for his third jump of the day. At the takeoff point, the ATV hits a small rut near the top of the dune. As the suspension rebounds, his trajectory shifts to the left, directly into the spectators. The crowd dives out of the way just in time, but Trevor's ATV smashes straight into another quad, wrecking both. Trevor suffers severe back injuries, including a compression fracture and 4 broken vertebrae. In spite of doctors' warnings, Trevor is back on his rebuilt ATV just 7 weeks later. But this time, he won't be attempting the treacherous double jump. October 3rd, 1999. In the 19-year history of the Salinas Air Show, there hasn't been a single accident. Only the most skilled pilots fly here, and among them is 60-year-old living legend Wayne Handley. Handley has logged 29,500 hours of flight time. He's a world record holder and an International Air Show Hall of Fame inductee. He's world-renowned for his stunning top-speed climbs and cutting-edge aerobatics. Handley can reverse the pitch of his propellers in flight, enabling him to actually slow down while diving. Today, Wayne sits in the cockpit of the Turbo Raven. And he's not just the pilot, he designed this plane. The Turbo Raven is capable of a 10,000 foot per minute rate of climb, making it the fastest climbing propeller-driven aircraft. Considering Handley's accomplishments, a smooth landing is something that he and his fans simply take for granted. Wayne Handley slams into the ground at 100 miles per hour. Handley says the engine stalled during descent. Problems with the propeller control prevented him from pulling out. The Raven is destroyed. Handley breaks his back and several ribs. 1 month later, though, he's back in the air, and due to his extensive injuries and the force of the crash, he's now 3 inches short. No matter how accomplished a pilot may be, he's inevitably at the mercy of his machine. I'm Ron Pitts, and we'll see you next time on Destroyed in Seconds.
Again, we do the space and time the same as episode 65 and 66. Alright guys, this is the end of the video of episode 67. Thanks for watching. Good night. We'll see you next time.